Okay, good morning, everybody. We're gonna start the meeting. It is 10:30. Can y'all just make sure to let me know that y'all can hear me all right?
Yep, you sound good.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect. Okay. Well, thank y'all for joining us on this Thursday for the LTPT April meeting. Just to let y'all know, the meetings are always recorded. So if you have to leave at any time, don't be worried that you're going to miss anything. We do record these, so then we put them on our YouTube page so anyone can access and get any information that you might have missed. But I hope y'all have had, a great month so far in April. Everything's going good for y'all. Um, so I think we're just going to jump right into it and we're going to go over some LTPT resource overview that I think would be helpful just to go over and make sure that everyone is aware that this is accessible online. I can send it to y'all over in an email so then you can, print it out for your office if you need to. But this can be found on the Florida Broadband website. So if you obviously just go to Florida Jobs, you go down to Broadband, and then there is a specific section, the local technology planning teams, and then it just gives a quick overview of what LTPTs are, how they're in Florida statute, and kind of what the whole idea is behind having these LTPTs in the state of Florida. But the most important thing that y'all can access is the broadband planning toolkit. So if you click on that link right there, it will bring you to the broadband planning toolkit for a guide to help establish an LTPT in your county. So this is just a really efficient resource. It's only 45 pages long, so it's not crazy long. It's very generic, very easy and comprehensible to understand. So I know that a lot of different sectors come apart and being a part of LTPTs. So it also gives a great overview of even what broadband is because you can have someone from the school district or, the medical center who want to be a part of an LTPT, but they might not have the awareness of what all broadband can do. So it's a great overview of what it is. And then further into the table of contents, it gives you a step by step on how to engage with certain sectors. Um, like I previously mentioned, that would be, your school boards, libraries, medical offices, just because broadband is such a universal thing. Everybody's a part of it, everybody needs to be included in it. So having all of this variety of stakeholders gives you a great option to work with other organizations and get their perspective from other kinds of groups as well. So, and then obviously this just gives you a little overview of what this toolkit can do for your LTPT. Um, doo-doo-doo. I'm not going to go over all of it because that would probably take too long. Um, but so yeah, right here, just like how I was, talking about the different sectors you can dive into, your libraries, your K through 12, private businesses, tourism, community organizations, nonprofits, agriculture, Parks and Rec, obviously your other ISPs. That's a huge sector you want to get involved with. And then, so then it goes into the broadband planning process. And then right below here, it gives you again the 9-step process of it. So the first one, engage with your stakeholders. Second one, assemble a team. Third one, identify community priorities. Fourth, harness the data. The fifth one, consider digital inclusion. Six, assess the resources infrastructure in your area. Seven, engage with local providers. And then eight, you evaluate these kind of solutions. So here it is, here's the first step, engage with your stakeholders that we've been talking about. This is very important because it's gonna essentially lay out the foundation for your LTPT. Um, so a good way to connect with those stakeholders is, social media, holding a public notice at, a local government agency. Um, And then, direct outreach is a great way to reach out to these people as well. And then assembling the team, you want to make sure that everyone is on the same page about, either meeting monthly or, meeting twice or every 2 months. But just to make sure that your team has a good plan of setting up on how much they would like to meet and discuss the matters that are going on in your LTPT. And then the community priorities, this is a good one to focus on as well. And I think that's another part to where the stakeholders really play into this because you're going to get different perspectives and opinions on those, on what they think the community kind of problems and situations are around broadband. So it's another, great way to give each other ideas and kind of bounce off of those and see, which ones are the priority. And then harnessing the data is also very important. This will also play into getting just the community involved as well. Um, so that will mean, you will be able to send out Google Forms, SurveyMonkey, Survey Planet, or Soho Survey. This is a good way to reach out to those who might not have broadband access, who might not even know a lot about broadband, and you'll just get a good way to determine what the public really needs in this situation. And then the fourth step is the progress report. This is just going to be the number of responses completed or received in the surveys that you'll be able to see as much as y'all will have a perspective on what you think will be best for the community. Having these survey results will also back that and can also provide the LTPT a whole new perspective on maybe an area that you might be missing. Um, and, with the fifth step, you're surveying those reports. It gives you a great walkthrough on how to, make it um, easy to access and easy to navigate as well, because you never want to make those reports too difficult. Um, Fifth one, consider digital inclusion. This is a big thing to consider. It gives you right here the aspects of digital inclusion. That'll be, broadband access and affordability, computer and devices, technical help and support, and then digital skills training. So the sixth step is assessing the resources and infrastructure. A big part of this that will play is recognizing the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and the challenge analysis. Um, as an LTPT, y'all will be able to assess and discuss any projects that might be already going on in your community. And you can see how the state or federal government grants that y'all might be given can be used towards those projects and maybe get them further developed quickly, more quickly than you thought you could probably do in a short period of time. um, do and then go down. So, and then another big step is engaging with your local ISPs. We just talked to a county the other day about this. I was able to draft up some pretty basic questions that you would ask your ISPs whenever you partner with them, just because they're a huge stakeholder that you want to have involved in this situation. So, if y'all have any questions or don't really know where to start off with those kind of questions, obviously refer to this toolkit. But if y'all still have any, if y'all need any examples, please reach out to me and I can send over those questions to y'all. And then step 8, evaluating the solutions. After all this, with the surveys, talking with your stakeholders, getting opinions from the community, you're going to have to really take your time in evaluating where you think, the grant money you might receive, where it should best go towards certain projects and which areas should be served. Um, But then it's also important to include, what would be the short and long term kind of considerations or solutions. And then step 9, which is the final process of it, is developing and executing these solutions. That means, working with the Office of Broadband here, your other stakeholders and organizations that you'll be working with, and fully executing the projects that you want to work towards. And then I think the rest of it, yeah. So yeah, the rest of it gives, broadband terms to know. It gives, simple definitions that people, from ISPs might be using. Um, so that's very, very useful. Even I find it very useful to look up every now and then. And then gives a great overview of what the guide is for the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and challenge analysis. Whenever you get to that part, um, broadbanding, broadband planning inventories, which is really great. And then there are also whether your LTPT is being reformed or, things are changing again, here are a great list of questions that you can use in those meetings, just to get, kind of just get the meeting going and kind of questions asked around. And it's a great way just to get, either new members or, a new LTPT team able to, kind of start and moving into this process. And then this gives a great overview of the committee, not committee, the community survey. So whenever you get into that process, this is honestly a survey that y'all will be able to use and collect the data that you would like to collect. Another good thing is that if you don't want to present these surveys in person, you can easily just, copy and paste all this into a Google form or a Survey Monkey and, send it out to um, anyone. And then I think, yep. And then this is, the business survey as well. You can do the same thing, just copy and paste it into a Google form or Survey Monkey. Um, and then this is a template for the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and challenges analysis, broadband inventory template, and then another broadband inventory template. And that's really the whole toolkit right there. Again, I think it's very useful to use. It just gives a great overview of what your LTPT um, should be working and focusing on. Um, but yeah, if y'all have any questions or concerns or need me to send, this link out to you or even just the PDF file of this toolkit, I would be more than happy to. I think it's just a really great resource to have on hand at all times, even at any meeting. I think it'd be great to give it to all of your members. So then whenever y'all are um, might be facing a situation depending on what project you might be working on, it's a great thing to turn to when you're not really sure what to do at first. But in regards to that, do y'all have any questions about the toolkit?
Thank you, Aaron, for walking them through that. I asked Aaron to do that because I'm aware that there are several teams who are reforming or restructuring or are adding new members, and we wanted to make sure that those folks knew about the resources that were available to them. The toolkit, like Aaron was saying, is a fantastic way to get your new members or new teams up to speed on what's available to each of the teams and the types of tools and other resources that are available to them. So thank you, Aaron. Really good job.
Of course. So if y'all don't have any questions or if a question comes up during the meeting, don't be afraid to, raise your hand or ask a question. So the next thing on the agenda is the second annual broadband summit. I know the last meeting in March, we brought this up. We're still trying to figure out the final details. We're hoping it'll be in September in the Orlando area again. But, once we have all of that detailed information confirmed, and authorized and approved by everyone, I will make sure to get that information out to y'all as soon as possible. We're really hoping y'all can send a representative from your LTPT to be there. It's a great way to meet other people in the state of Florida that might be dealing with similar situations with you in regards to broadband, and you'll just learn a variety of information around the subject of broadband and meet a lot of great people. Um, but in addition to that, after the meeting, I will be sending out an Excel sheet for each LTPT to send back to me regarding who you would like to send from each county. It'll have the very basic information, your first and last name, phone number, email address, and title. Um, so we do ask that you only send one representative. We will only be paying for one representative. If you want to bring, two or three more people, that's perfectly fine. But they would have to pay for that themselves. Another very important thing to mention, and I have that even highlighted on the Excel sheet, is that the state of Florida cannot pay for elected members. So please just remember that whenever you're thinking about who you would like to submit to come to the summit. And I even have that highlighted in the Excel sheet as well, just for a reminder. Um, do y'all have any questions regarding the summit?
When did you say the summit is?
We're not totally sure yet. We're hoping to have it in September, but it's still we're still trying to get details finalized and approved. But whenever we have it officially approved, I'll get that information out to y'all as soon as possible.
Aaron, are we leaning toward any dates or any like the second, third, fourth week? Just to kind of give us a rough idea of where that might fall within the month.
Sure. It will be tentatively, it is the second week of September.
Okay. And then if I understood it correctly, that there will be funding available for a representative from each of the LTPTs to attend the summit. I'm assuming room and if there is a entry fee or a registration fee will be covered. Other than that, the other attendees would be expected to pay for, and it's open to a broader audience. I get that. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And there is no registration fee
Okay, great.
for the event.
Okay, great.
Yep. So we really encourage our LTPT members to really take advantage. It is a great opportunity to as Aaron said, do some great networking, hear directly from practitioners from every sector, from the industry folks, from other LTPT members, from government agencies, all at one time. So it's quickly become the Super Bowl for broadband here in the state of Florida. So we're excited about it.
Those that attended last year, it was really, really good. So highly recommended.
Okay, great. So in the next part of the agenda, I would also like to discuss with y'all a potential LTPT panel. Again, we're still getting, things organized and finalized, but I wanted to get y'all's thoughts and opinions on potentially having on the agenda for this summit is having a LTPT panel or breakout session. We would love to hear if any of y'all would like the opportunity to speak on behalf of your LTPT county, just to see, what you think are the best practices for what y'all have deemed to be the most successful in regards to, providing broadband in your area, and what might have been, some difficult times for y'all and how you were able to push through it as a LTPT team. So if y'all have any thoughts and opinions on that, or if you totally right now or like I would love to be a part of that, please let me know. You can put that in the chat or you can email me after. Again, I would like to get everyone's thoughts and opinions on it. Um, but just to be clear, it's not a total yes on the agenda yet, but we are hoping to have it on there. Um, but also, I don't want anyone to stir away from not wanting to be a part of the panel or breakout session. I would really like to get a decent variety of different counties on there just because um, all counties in Florida are very different. It would be very hard for, a very big city LTPT to just come up there and talk about how successful they are and have it to relate to a very small rural county in Florida. So I would really love to get a variety of people on there so then everyone can relate to one another. And again, just to get that network and, LTPT community base growing again. So if y'all have any thoughts and opinions on that, please let me know. And then if you're still not sure about it, you're more than welcome to email me after the meeting and we can talk more about it as well. But Caroline, I saw your hand go up first.
Hey, yeah, good morning. I just wanted to provide a thought. So I'm at a regional planning council. I'm not at one LTPT, so my bias might be a little skewed. But in terms of what you mentioned about having a panel versus a breakout session, something like that, I feel like it might be beneficial to have a panel as well as like a session with the LTPTs that's open to the members to actually kind of collaborate and share experiences kind of one-on-one.
Okay, awesome. No, I think that's really great. I'm writing that down right now. So, whatever y'all's thoughts and opinions are based on this idea, I'll write it down. Sean and I will talk about it, and we'll try our best to get y'all involved in this, summit the best way that we can. But thank you for that thought, Caroline. I really like that idea.
My pleasure.
So I saw, so Mary.
Great feedback on the panels, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm seeing in the chat, David from Polk, Sandra from DeSoto, that would be great. But yes, to answer the question, there will be presentations at the summit. We were talking about that last week. We're trying to get a variety of topics, just so everyone, learn something new. But we're really hoping, with the ideas that we come up with, they'll be very efficient and something, y'all will be able to bring back to your communities and use in a very productive way. But does anyone have any more thoughts on being a part of that panel or breakout session discussion?
I'm going to check with my IT director, but we've got a different approach as a county. We've got about we're building closer to 350 miles of fiber in the ground, and we are putting providers on our fiber, giving them dark fiber. We have one on there right now that's doing a lot of build outs with limited grants. I think they did get one grant, and then we got another company we're looking at doing backhauling on for them. We use it primarily for public purposes, military, colleges, schools, cities in the county, and emergency responders in our 800 megahertz system, but we're selling some of that access capacity to help with the build out of our county. But I got to check with my IT director and make sure he can go and feels good about talking about all that. But.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for letting us know. So if y'all don't have any more questions, I guess, yeah, I'll give it over to Sean to talk about the challenge process workshops. And then after that, I'll pipe back in to mention something quickly in regards to the challenge process as well. But Sean, the floor is all yours.
Actually, we've got Bob on next.
Oh, I thought it says.
Oh, no, you're right. You're right. Sorry about that. I was looking
no,
at
you're
an old
fine.
agenda. Good morning, everybody. We've talked to you about previously about the challenge process workshops. We have had to move our schedule a little bit because we are still awaiting final approval of BEAD Initial Proposal Volume 1. So all of that is dependent upon the approval of that Volume 1. So we're moving that timeline for the workshops by about a month. Tentatively now we are looking at the last week of May to begin those workshops. As soon as we get the volume 1 approved, we will be able to tighten up those dates and lock down the locations for those, and we will get those out to everybody. A reminder again, please make sure that you and the members of all of your teams are subscribed to the page to make sure that you get all of our announcements and updates so that you don't miss any information about when and where those will occur. We will also conduct a recorded webinar for folks who are not able to attend those in person. The target population, the target audience for those workshops is going to be the LTPTs, internet service providers, local government folks, and nonprofits. We want to make sure that all of those entities really have a full understanding of what's involved in the challenge process, what it means, how to pre-register for that. So it's a soup to nuts primer on the entire challenge process. The reason the challenge process is so important is that its purpose is to provide kind of a check and balance to make sure that we can push back on any locations that are being shown as already being served if they're not being served. So it's an opportunity for individuals to contact their nonprofits, their local governments, or for ISPs to say, hey, FCC, you're showing that my location is currently served. I can show you that it is not. The challenge process is not open to individuals, so the individuals must use one of those entities to submit that challenge on their behalf. So that's why that process is so very, very important, because we can only spend those BEAD dollars on the locations that we can prove are still unserved or underserved. So that's why that whole process is so very, very important. Any questions about that? All right. Now we can move it over to Bob Kitson, and he can talk about what we're working on here in the Office of Broadband in terms of mapping.
Think you might be muted, Bob.
He's muted. He's trying to fix it.
Okay, now we're unmuted. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining the call today. The mapping status, as it is right now, we are compiling the list of unserved and underserved locations. We are looking forward to the challenge process. We're designing a challenge app website. Be sure you all counties get the and people that want to participate in the challenge process get the proper NTIA license. In order to participate in the challenge process, you'll need either a tier D as in David or E as in Edward or Aaron license that will allow you to access the broadband serviceable location fabric and participate in the challenge process. Tier D is available for units of government such as counties. Tier E allows the nonprofit organizations to participate in the challenge process. As Sean mentioned, it's critical that we get this and make sure that we have an accurate list of all the unserved and underserved locations and served locations as well. All of this is critical towards distributing the BEAD funds properly and according to the rules in the law. Compliance is good. Transparency is good. We're working on some transparency issues in our hub that'll come up later. So we're moving forward with the mapping and looking forward to the challenge process when we get version 1 approved. And that's all for mapping.
And that's a tier D license, tier D, what was it they need?
Tier D will allow units of government to participate in the challenge process, as well as, I believe that makes them eligible to be subrecipients.
Yeah,
And the
tier D, what is it called though? Tier D license?
Tier D,
Tier D
yes.
certificate?
Hang on, tier dog. Let me put the
Okay,
proper
somebody
pages
spoke
in
to
the
cost plus
chat.
license.
Yes, it's, well, actually,
And where
I
do
gotta
where
find
do
it.
we get that? Is that, is this
I
attachment?
will, yeah, I'll put a link in the chat that will direct you to the proper source for that.
Okay.
And as soon as I can
Do
find
we have
it.
to apply to the feds for that, I guess?
Yeah, it's real easy to do.
Okay.
They're free, so you don't have to give budget authority or anything for that. All you really need is a FRN number, which most of you, I'm sure, already have, your county or your organization. But if you don't have one, that's easy enough to get to. So
Okay.
it's a simple process. It might take a week or 10 days to get everything straightened out. And in order to participate in the challenge process, we're going to require that you have one of those licenses as well, or a tier C license, which is for another government entity pass-through organization. I just put the link in
Great.
the chat. That explains everything.
Thank you.
If you have any questions, give us a call, or most of your questions will be answered on that website.
Hey, Bob, this is David Palmer from Polk County. Thank you for
Hi, David.
sharing that. And I know that our people have been working with you and your team as well, so thank you for that. I just would like to share with the group, if you don't know what this is, Bob, I can appreciate that your team has done it for a while and is really comfortable with it, but it can be a bit of an onerous challenge, starting with how do you get your FRN numbers, who in your organization may have them, and working through that entire process. As an example, we've been working on getting ours for a few months now. And fortunately, and I'm going to knock on wood, we just got our notification as of April 16th that we now have access and have the files and the data. So it's very helpful. It's amazing. We've talked about the worries of creating Swiss cheese, and Polk County looks like Swiss cheese today. So it's very helpful, but it can be a bit onerous. Is there anywhere, Bob, where there is a good step-by-step, starting with FRN, who might have it? Like in our case, we had one, but it was already assigned to our fire rescue and radio shop people, so we had to be added. There's a fair amount of steps that are involved in each one of those items. Is there kind of a clear layout, or did I just get caught up in a bunch of rigmarole and all I needed to do was hit on that cost quest and we would have been fine months ago?
As far as getting the FRN number, I know when I applied for our Cost Quest license, it took me maybe 10 minutes to complete the form, and I got the number that, as soon as I clicked submit. But we, as an organization at DEO at the time, didn't have any other FRN numbers. So if you have a unique organization, that will make finding the FRN number easy. And my understanding is you can use anyone's FRN number. So if your fire and rescue has an FRN number, you can use that as well. But I could be wrong on that. And I think there is a link on that page that I sent you about how to request the license. And it's done on the bottom of that page. And there should be there's a lot of stuff there. Tier D license application process information. So there are a lot of FAQs in there to do as well. So it's not like I said, when I did it, it wasn't that difficult.
Leave it.
Are we still here?
We are.
Oh,
I think
okay.
I did hear another voice. Thank you, Bob. I agree. I thought I heard another voice, but
Yeah, that was kind of weird. But David's correct in that Fabric gives you a lot of information. Particularly, it'll tell you this. If you can join it with through your ArcGIS process, you can join it to the broadband collection data, which is done by technology and provider. And that'll get you down to a specific location with the providers that report offering service there and the types of service they offer. The technology, the upload, download, everything is very detailed once you get all that stuff put together.
And I see that in the chat, Josh Hoadley from our staff put some links in there for everyone that look like some great walkthroughs.
Awesome.
So you might want to
Bob, do you know
hit and
if,
save those links.
Yep, absolutely. Do you know, is there one of our other challenges as we're getting this information is there any place to get easy access or relatively easy access to what has been already awarded and by whom and those locations so that we can kind of confirm that? And then I also know that we're working on, and I think we're going to be reaching out on those that are already covered or protected, if you will, by RDOF.
Yeah, and I'll put that in our chat. We have a public grant data portal, and that's available to anyone. And all the stuff that I use to, excuse me, create all these wonderful maps. Got to put another. There we go. Is available on that portal. I'm also probably going to put on some CSVs that have the award numbers, the contract numbers, the award amounts, so on and so forth. We're still finalizing exactly the unique IDs. There's some overlaps in some of the awards. The key is, though, that if there's an award issue and they overlap, someone will serve those locations. And whatever is not left, whatever is not covered under those awards should be BEAD eligible if you're an underserved or unserved location.
Right, thank you. I look forward to getting that connection or that link. Thank you. And if I have access to that map, can I make a safe assumption that I'm already covered that I have the correct license? Or is that an incorrect assumption?
Dang, muted again. As far as the license is concerned, the license will give you, if you're a county, the license will give you the Fabric IDs for that county. Right. So if you apply as Polk County, you should probably just get the IDs for Polk County, which, as far as the challenge process goes, is all you're really concerned about anyway. Some of the nonprofits, I honestly don't know because I haven't seen what they get in that Tier E license or what they have access to. But I know we have, and you know what? I will send that to Aaron. NTIA sends a list out every week of who has the licenses in Florida and the type of license they have. And I will send that to Erin and she can broadcast that out to the LTPTs to see if they're on that list or if somebody in their county is on that list or a nonprofit in their area is on that list and they can funnel their requests through them. We're going to do a couple of webinars on how to exactly do the challenge. And that should give everybody a pretty good idea how what to do, what kind of information you're going to need, and how to submit it.
Right, but a great preemptive piece of that would be to make sure that everybody has it and knows how to get it.
Correct.
So, thank you.
Yeah, and now is a good time to start doing that because we're not going to launch the challenge process for a while, and the license, to my understanding, does not expire. So once you get it, you got it.
Thank you.
Okay. If y'all don't have any more questions regarding mapping, then we will bring it back over to Sean so he can provide broadband program status.
Good morning again, everyone. Right at the top of the call, I saw in the chat that folks had questions about one of the programs in particular, but I'll start in the order in which the programs were launched. For Broadband Opportunity Program Application Cycle 1, we've got 65 executed awards. For under Capital Projects Fund, under Broadband Infrastructure Program, we have 38 agreements routing for execution right now. For BOP 2, we have 54 awards that are awaiting Fabric IDs so that we can get those moving. And for Digital Connectivity Technology Program, we are in the final stages of review on the applications that were submitted under that program. That was the $13 million program for digital devices. We should be wrapping that up very shortly, and as soon as that is done, we'll make announcements on those. In terms of BEAD, as we mentioned, we are in the queuing process for both volumes 1 and 2. Once volume 1 is approved, we can move forward with our challenge process. And then once volume 2 is approved, we can get into setting up the application cycles for about later this year. So that's where we are with all of our existing programs. Does anybody have any questions about our grant programs beyond that?
Sean, this is David again. We're at one point we had talked about the possibility of releasing the modifications or what was finally submitted to the NTIA after the input. Did that occur, or are we just going to wait till it's done?
We're going to wait till it's done because we're still going back and forth with them.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so we're just trying to cure the questions and comments that they have. And then once that is finalized, we can post all of that, because most of it is just technical clarifications that they want. So we are going back and forth with them to make sure that we satisfy all of their concerns, and then that will all be posted.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And
Sean,
yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was just going to say there was a question in the chat that said from Sarah. She said regarding timing of the challenge process, how long will that be open?
Josh, how long is the process open?
So the NTA is no more than 120 days for the entire challenge process. Challenge submissions, we're probably going to do about 45 days. We're going to have a processing in between, probably about a week, and then we're going to look to open our rebuttals and determinations. So it's kind of broadly split into two portions: our challenge submissions, which is probably what you all will be interested in, and then as well as rebuttals. So about 45 days for those submissions, and then probably about 45 days for the rebuttals.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Ms. Sarah.
Sarah, we saw that you raised your hand. You can. Oh, maybe.
If you'd like, you can type your question in the chat and I can respond to it.
Oh, okay. Her microphone
I'll shoot
isn't
you a
working.
response over there.
And
Okay.
Guido, did you want to speak?
Oh, sure. No, the only part was this was just a comment to what Bob Gittin had been talking about earlier about, first of all, thank you very much for sending over that ArcGIS hub where you have the layers. That's very helpful. I see the Bob 2 awards are there, which is something that I was struggling with to try to find before. But just wanted to emphasize getting the location IDs for the awards would be great, just to try to avoid any Swiss cheese issues within covered polygon areas, taking into consideration that the Broadband Opportunity Program only could fund unserved areas. So we know that there are a lot of underserved locations within these polygons as well. And just working with a couple of counties where that's become a big priority for us is looking at the underserved counts within some DOP awards. And so wanted to know a little bit better if that's on the schedule of things to happen before the challenge process opens, or if it's better to reach out individually as to specific awards to try to see if there's an ability to get location IDs of awarded locations. But that's my only question.
Guido, this is Bob. I have the answer for that. I'm working on that as we speak. What the problem was you mentioned with the overlapping IDs, I can send you, if you send me the agreements that you need, I can see if I can send you everything in that area, including the duplicate IDs, and then with the awards that overlap them. And someone's going to have to work out who covers what on those. But at least you'll know which other agreements and providers you need to be dealing with. Most of this should have been taken care of in the challenge process. I think some of them slipped through the cracks, and that's what we're trying to work on right now.
Yep, that'd be great. I will send an email just out particularly with regards to, I think, 2 awarded areas, but I will probably follow up with other counties as well that we're working with. So really appreciate the answer there, Bob, and more than happy to go through the data ourselves if you just provide the location IDs.
You got it.
Okay, if y'all don't have any questions regarding that, then we will move towards the end of the agenda. So if any LTPTs would like to provide any reports and updates, that would be great.
Feel free to unmute yourselves.
Hi, this is Sarah with St. Johns County. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, great. Okay. I just wanted to give an update to the team. I don't know if it's helpful or not to other leaders, but we met with one of our community redevelopment groups in our county and talked to them about broadband. And we brought the addresses that Bob provided us and let them individually see if their street, if their house was going to be served by one of the grant opportunities. And unfortunately, out of the people that were at the meeting, only one was served by the current grants that have been awarded in our county. However, that allowed us to better communicate with them and help them set expectations. And then thank you, Sean and Aaron. You had given us the great idea to let them know that there are future funding opportunities to give them some hope. So we will definitely be continuing with those community meetings. And individually, we've started ad hoc kind of asking people to do their speed tests again, just to verify their information for those that are saying we don't have it, but it's showing you do have it. So we're looking to roll out something more formal, and we'll be interested in learning more from other LTPs that have done that, but we're starting on the small scale for now.
Sarah, I'm really glad to hear that, and you brought up a really important note. We hear a lot from folks who are frustrated because they feel that they've kind of missed the boat and that they've missed opportunities for funding, and you're absolutely right. It's important messaging for the teams to put out to their communities that there is going to be another opportunity for funding through BEAD. So no one has missed the boat. We are committed to serving all of the eligible areas that still exist beyond what the other grant programs have covered. So I'm glad that you've kind of started sharing that message. That's really important to reassure the members of your communities. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Hey, y'all. I have one other thing to share. That just to kind of build on that. I know this funding does not come from y'all's department, but it does come from Florida Commerce. I just wanted to share with folks who weren't aware. We've been able to do a lot of broadband planning through the Rural Infrastructure Fund grant. And that's been a really nice complementary resource for our region. So if that's not something that you're familiar with, I'd recommend looking into it, especially since I think there's an application cycle coming up soon, later this spring. But that has been a great resource for kind of getting some of that preliminary planning and engineering work done to prepare for infrastructure building.
And I'll make a comment on that note. Thank you, Caroline.
No problem.
And here's the comment. If you are aware of any other funding that your community is seeking for coverage areas, please make sure that you communicate that to our office, because we want to make sure that we don't commit funds to an area that's getting other funding. It's really, really important, because that kind of screws up all the calculations. It screws up all the coverage and can create conflicts which will delay projects. So if you are going to be seeking or receiving other funding, please make sure that the office knows about it. So I'm really glad Caroline brought that point up. And I know that Paul and his team will greatly appreciate that.
So we have a question from Sam Roberts. He asked, are there any funding streams that aren't tied to underserved? We're looking for funding for educational outreach and teach and tech literacy. Additionally, is there any effort to extend ACP?
That is the $1 million question. We have been in conversation over the last year with state broadband offices across the country, and everyone is working on that same challenge, the expiration of the Affordable Connectivity Program, the ACP. One of the challenges that is specific to Florida is that both in statute and in the strategic plan for broadband here, there is a clear message, statutory language that states that the sustainable adoption of broadband has to be independent of public subsidy. So that's a tough one for us to get around statutorily. So we are talking with other states to see what kind of workarounds there may be, what other options beyond looking for private funding. It is a very, very tough one. We are looking at what we can do with the non-deployment funds for BEAD, but the likelihood of any of that funding being used for that purpose is slim to none, sadly.
Hey, Sean?
Yes.
What about, because local governments collects like a communication services tax, right?
Mhm.
But could something like that be used to kind of like create, I don't know, like a subsidization program or something like, I don't know, to substitute for ACP in a community that's really relying on it? I don't know about the legality of that. That's just an idea.
Yeah, that's something we're willing to look at, but the statutory language really kind of ties our hands a great deal in any kind of conversation about subsidy.
Okay, but I mean,
Yeah.
like, could a local government, maybe like a county or a city, look at something like that, if the state can't?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's only the state that has that restriction.
Okay.
Yeah. But then the question becomes, what unit of local government has that kind of general revenue available for that kind of a recurring cost? That's the challenge.
Okay.
Yeah. That is definitely the challenge.
Sam also asked the question, are there any funding streams for tech education and outreach?
Yes, for digital literacy, that is one of the eligible activities under BEAD that are covered under non-deployment eligible activities. So yes, absolutely. Yeah, we are very, very, very excited about all the opportunities that the BEAD funds are going to create, both for deployment, for digital literacy, for workforce development, for a number of different aspects of what broadband touches.
Sean, can you hear me?
Yes.
So you said for non-deployment specifically, does that is that precluded by the unserved criteria still, or is that available for any part of town?
That's available to any community. The way the funding for BEAD works is the priority is unserved, then underserved, and then the non-deployment activities. So once we can prove that we have accounted for the funding that is required to cover those first two groups, then the balance in that funding becomes available for those other activities.
Okay, that's actually very helpful. We have a lot of nonprofits that we've been working with who are looking for funding for tech outreach and stuff like that. But City of Jacksonville entirely lacks under or unserved areas. We have none, and what we do have are not populated. You know, they're FDOT parcels or other random parts of town where nobody lives out there. So I think that'll turn the tide on some of the hopes of our community members. So that'll be very helpful. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. And Sam, you and I can have a follow-up conversation. I've had several conversations along this line with nonprofit organizations in your county who have some project ideas and digital literacy concerns. So yeah, I'd
Right.
definitely like to talk more with you about that.
Yeah, we've been almost turning them away because we were under the impression that BEAD funding wouldn't qualify for anything that they were trying to do or the programs they were trying to start. So non-deployment activities are eligible. That's great to know. Thank you so much, Sean.
Absolutely.
Okay, so before we end, does anybody else have any more updates or questions they would like to ask?
Or things they'd like to share, brag about. I know some of the teams are doing some really exciting things.
I'll share again. Oh,
Sure.
sorry. I'm just jumping in left and right at this point. But
No,
I don't think this had happened by the time there was the last meeting. So correct me if I've already shared this, but I just wanted to thank y'all for the speed test data that you collected a year or two ago, because we were able to upload that to our regional broadband mapping tool. And that's been a great extra layer for local governments to be able to use to figure out which areas they need to prioritize for things like BEAD funding. So thank you.
And Caroline, would you like to talk about what you guys were working on in Jacob City
Sure, I could talk about it.
in Jackson County?
Yeah, so in Jacob City is a small municipality in Jackson County, about 200 people, so very small. And we've been working with them over the last year or so on a broadband planning project. And it happened that at the time, the county was also working on broadband planning. And so basically, we've been able to do this kind of a collaborative project, planning out, the first mapping community needs for broadband in Jacob City. Needs are pretty high. I mean, to the extent that they can't host a city council meeting online without severe interruptions and without people not being able to speak or dropping off the call. And so there is a really pressing need for improved internet service. And, but we were able to pull into that project, internet service providers, the county LTPT, county IT, department and other staff, as well as State Office of Broadband, which has been great. And it's, culminated in a pretty solid engineering report for, you know, if, for the areas not covered by RDOF, or if there's an issue with the RDOF execution, what the best plan forward is for enhancing internet in Jacob City area. So it's been a great project. We're just finishing up right now. And it's been we've done a few other broadband planning projects in the past, but I think this one has been the most collaborative, and I've been really grateful for that, for having participation from different levels of government and from different backgrounds. Is there anything more specific I could share about it, Sean, that you think would be helpful?
No, I think it's just a great example, best practice about collaboration, especially for a small rural area, showing how just bringing people together in conversation can really move the ball for even a very small community.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Yeah. Any other counties would like to share what they're working on or accomplishments?
I think Miss Martinez has her hand raised.
Yes.
Thanks, Aaron. Hi, Sean. Hi, everyone. So I don't usually talk much at these, but since you invited us to get on the floor to talk about stuff that we're happy about, I just have to brag about our upcoming work in the Sun Coast of Florida. So my company has been working with the Patterson Foundation on a regional digital navigator approach, and I am so proud and happy to announce that we are launching our 4th cohort of the Digital Navigator program. This is a 4-county initiative that's been going on since 2021. Our collaboration with the Patterson Foundation has been nothing short of fabulous. And in this 4th cohort, we are so happy because this will double down not only on a rural, underserved county, but it will also be a multi-phase approach involving local stakeholders, totally locked down in DeSoto County. So if you know anything about DeSoto County, you know that they've experienced a lot of challenges over the past few decades. So we're really excited that all these resources and all this attention is coming to DeSoto. So I lead the Digital Navigator Program initiative for the Patterson Foundation. So we're excited about cohort 4. And we are also doubling down on providing professional development for our existing previous digital navigation cohorts. And pretty soon, the first week of May, thanks to a partnership with Goodwill Southwest Florida, we're going to be providing free professional development to our existing digital navigators in the area of cybersecurity. So really excited to see what those outcomes will be, but the Sun Coast of Florida is really shining with digital navigation. All sorts of great things happening with affordable broadband devices and digital literacy skills training. So thanks for the opportunity to let me share about that. I'm dropping a link to the announcement in the chat.
Great news. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else?
Sean,
Harris
this
Foundation?
is David. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead, David.
I just wanted to share that we are having a Central Florida Digital Government Summit on the 25th of April. Here, it's actually going to be hosted in Orlando. I think a number of you are attending and speaking. And one of the areas that we are speaking on and focusing on is broadband and these opportunities. So I really appreciate all the information that is shared and supplied. And if anybody's interested in attending and have not heard about it, I would be happy to send that link forward.
Yeah, David, could you put that link into the chat?
I certainly can.
That would be great. Thank you.
Okay, if no one has any more updates or questions, then I guess we will end the meeting a little early today. David just put in that link as well. So thank you, David. So I guess the last thing to mention is that our next meeting will be May 16th. Again, 10:30 to 12 o'clock. If y'all have any questions or concerns in the meantime, please don't hesitate to reach out to Sean or I. We're here to support y'all throughout this process. So it was great to see y'all again, and I hope y'all have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.